And start whenever you're ready.
Alright. Hello. My presentation is on Apple. More importantly, the part of the Apple is the iPod. Very quick insight to Apple. Was founded in April 1st, 1976 by college buddies Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Before they became the all-famous Apple Inc., they were once Apple Computers Inc., their very first computer being very first product being a computer called the Apple I. Its product history blew up from there, having a range of different computers until 1984, where they released their first Macintosh. Their fame continued to rise through the years, till 2001 with the release of the very first iPod, again just blowing up their profits and their fame. The thing about Apple though is that they're strong enough to stand alone. Their brand is Apple and only Apple, as they don't own anything else. And then it comes to their competitors, which is a harder topic to talk about, as in my eyes, when it comes to the MP3 industry, Apple is nearly unmatched. You could have an MP3 for your entire life, get an upgrade, and then listen to an iPod, then listen to your old one again. It just wouldn't be the same. It doesn't have the same feel or the same quality that an iPod has. The only way that Apple has any competitors is when it comes to the tablet market, as things like the Leapfrog tablets are for a younger crowd, so they have their own actual audience instead of targeting everyone. Also, because they're for younger crowds, they have educational values, so they can teach reading, writing, speech and listening, whereas an iPod or iPad is usually just used for entertainment or internet browsing. The other thing is price. iPod mini will cost around £269 from the Apple Store, whereas the Leapster Pad costs only £126.08, give or take. The other good thing is the Leapster still has similar or pretty much the exact same applications as an iPad. So even though for a younger crowd it's given them the educational values, for an older crowd it's given them the same entertainment and enjoyment that they can get for cheaper. And actually that's a funny thing to talk about, especially when it comes to Apple's target audience. When they first started out, their target audience was quite elitist. Very few people had an iPod, and everyone knew you had an iPod, because you could walk around proudly with your white headphones dangling, and everyone would just turn to you and be like, that's the person I want to be. I want to have that money to have that elitism. Nowadays, pretty much everyone has an iPod, iPod Touch, iPhone or iPad. And although they're still seen as quite elite luxuries, they're not as elitist as they usually were, or as they once were. And they target such a wide demographic, it's unbelievable. So that's what I was trying to base my advert around. Trying to get something for everyone. There's quite a few ideas I'd come out with. Coming with taglines such as they're so simple to use. Like if you was to take an iPod back in time to medieval England, someone could find it, pick it up, within 5 minutes they'd know how to put on music, listen to it, show it to their friends. It's literally that simple. The idea I chose to pursue was my idea number 3, which was bringing music to life. Now, the advert idea and structure is quite simple. Bunch of kids sitting down in a room, they walk away leaving an iPod on the table. A final kid walks past, finds it, puts the headphones on, starts listening to the music, and is just not able to resist dancing to the music, because the music is such quality and it's so powerful that it will literally make you dance. Now the thing is, some people would see that these claims are over-exaggerated or misleading, which has already happened once with the ASA. An iPod advert was banned, saying that it was over-exaggerated, saying that the iPhone had everything that an internet browser would need. Now this is something that's going to be hard to dodge, as butting heads with the ASA again would be very bad for Apple. However, I don't quite think those claims are misleading, as it's already been shown music has the power and it has the feel to it to move someone's body, to make them dance, to make them sing, to make them tap or hum. Which is definitely one of their strengths. The other strengths of Apple is just they're so mainstream, they're so well known that you could be in Japan, Uruguay, Africa. If there's an Apple store, everyone knows Apple, everyone knows the iPod, which makes it easier for them to sell. However, their weaknesses and opportunities, although small in comparison, or not really small, but although few, they are very powerful. There's a very, very small keyhole of opportunity for Apple that I think if they was going to change something, they run the risk of one of two things. Either making a product so brilliant that everyone would buy it, despite the fact that it's different, or making a product so different that the average person, the average Apple user would buy it, look at it, and then just scream out blasphemy. This isn't Apple, this isn't an iPod. What is this? And of course, it also counts to its threats. Again, one of its main threats being its competitors from Leapstar. iPads and iPods so far hold very little educational value. But I believe if they can implicate that, it would just widen their horizon even more. Another weakness, rename and reuse. It's what they do. As you can see, the iPod Nano first generation, pretty standard, screen, touch screen wheel. The iPod Nano 4th generation, it's the top of the iPod Nano. iPod Shuffle, it's the bottom of an iPod Nano. There's not much else to say there. Now in terms of feasibility for my advert, even though it requires professional skills in applications such as Final Cut Pro, I believe it can be done quite easily. It takes very little time, very few actors, the two things that would cost the most, despite the fact that it will need 3 cameras and 3 operators. And as the location is pretty public, it will be very easy to get permission to film there for cheap. And finally, I'd like to talk about the market research. It's pretty simple going through the charts, exactly who the current demographic is, how often they use iPods. It's pretty apparent that most of them are going to be students. They're going to be quite young, of course. However, most of them, or the ones who don't have an iPod, are compelled to get one after either hearing them or seeing them from their friends. And of course, seeing adverts, making them want to buy the iPods. It shows just how effective the iPod adverts are. And it's pretty easy to see that they're working, because it's even all across the board about what draws people in from the adverts. It's their cinematography, it's their editing, it's their persuasive strategies and mise-en-scène. it's all even across the board. Everything is as it should. And of course, everyone who has an iPod is satisfied with it. And it's pretty simple to see as well where people will buy them from. Thank you.